The massive viewing chamber of the Concordance monitoring station hummed with quiet activity. Ambassador Kethvar stood at the central holographic display, his 6 arms folded in frustration as he watched the dying world below. Nereidine was beautiful, even in its death throes. Vast blue oceans reflecting silver moons, but those same oceans were rising fast. "How much time do they have left?" asked Dr. Isara, the station's chief scientist. Her feathered crest drooped with sadness as she studied, the data streams flowing across smaller screens. 3 weeks, Kethvar replied, his voice heavy. Maybe less if the northern ice caps collapse faster than predicted. The Nereidin had lived on their water world for over 50,000 years. Their cities floated on the oceans, connected by brilliant coral highways that glowed in the dark depths. They were artists, philosophers, and dreamers. They created music that could be heard both above and below water. Their children learned to swim before they could walk on land. Now, their sun was dying, growing hotter each year, melting ice that had existed since their planet's birth. The great floating cities were sinking one by one. Their desperate calls for help echoed through space, reaching every corner of the galaxy, and everyone was listening, but nobody could help. "The Prime Directive is clear," said Commander Vex from his position at the tactical console. His reptilian features showed no emotion. No interference with natural evolutionary processes, no intervention in planetary disasters. The Concordance has followed these rules for 5,000 years. Kethvar's mandibles clicked in annoyance. "I know the rules, Commander. I helped write some of them." He gestured at the hologram showing Nereidin children playing in what would soon be underwater parks. "But watching an entire civilization die when we could save them breaks our hearts," Dr. Isara finished softly. "But imagine what would happen if we started picking and choosing who lives and dies. Every species would expect us to save them from every natural disaster. Wars would break out over who deserves rescue first." The monitoring station orbited at the edge of the system, cloaked and hidden. Around it, ships from 12 different Concordance member species maintained silent watch. They could save every Nereidin life with ease. Transport ships could evacuate everyone in days. Terraform machines could fix the climate in months. But the cost would be the end of galactic peace. Captain Zeal of the Arctanian vessel Stormwing appeared on the main screen. His blue skin looked pale with stress. "Any change in the situation, Ambassador?" "None," Kethvar replied. "The northern continent will be completely flooded within 10 days. The Nereidin are moving everyone to the southern cities, but those won't last much longer either. My crew is requesting permission to at least send down medical supplies, Captain," Zeal said. "Watching through our sensors, children are getting sick from the contaminated water." "Request denied," came the voice of High Admiral Torask from the command ship. The insectoid leader's image appeared alongside Captain Zeal's. "Any contact would violate the Prime Directive. We are here to observe and record, nothing more." Dr. Isara's feathers ruffled with emotion. "Record their extinction for the history books. How noble of us." "Doctor," High Admiral Torask's compound eyes fixed on her. "You speak from emotion, not wisdom. The Prime Directive has prevented 17 major wars and countless smaller conflicts. The moment we start interfering, other species will demand the same treatment. Some will fight over our attention. The galaxy will burn." Kethvar had heard this argument 1,000 times. It made sense logically. But logic felt cold when watching a mother Nereidin trying to teach her young cub to swim in water that would soon cover their home forever. "Sir," Lieutenant Grix called from the communication station. "I'm detecting something strange on the long-range sensors." Kethvar moved to the young officer's station. Grix belonged to a species with exceptionally good eyesight, perfect for sensor work. "What kind of strange?" "Ships approaching from Sector 7 Alpha. But the signatures don't match anything in our database." Grix's 3 eyes blinked rapidly as he studied the readings. "They're moving fast, really fast. Faster than our best ships." Dr. Isara joined them, her scientific curiosity overcoming her sorrow. "Could be a new Concordance vessel design. Maybe someone is finally testing improved FTL drives." "No," Grix shook his head. These aren't concordance ships. The energy patterns are completely different, and there are 12 of them. Commander Vex's scales changed color, showing his alarm. 12 unknown ships approaching a restricted zone? He moved to his console with surprising speed. Hi, Admiral. We have incoming vessels. Unknown origin. They're not responding to our identification signals. High Admiral Torask's image sharpened as he received the same data. All ships prepare defensive positions. Unknown vessels, you are entering a restricted zone. Identify yourselves immediately and change course. For a moment, there was only static. Then a voice came through the speakers, speaking in perfect Galactic standard with a strange accent none of them recognized. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Terran Defense Force. We received your transmissions about the Nereidin situation. We're here to help. The command center fell silent. Every being present turned to stare at the speakers as if they could see through them to these unknown humans. Terran? Dr. Isara whispered. I've never heard of a species called Terrans. Kethvar felt his multiple hearts racing. Computer, search all databases for species designation Terran, or planet named Terra, or Earth. Searching, the computer replied in its calm voice. After several seconds, no matches found in Concordance member species database. No matches found in known civilization registry. No matches found in first contact protocols. High Admiral Torask's voice cut through their shock. Unknown vessels, calling themselves Terran Defense Force, you are in violation of Concordance space. You will withdraw immediately or face military action. The response came immediately, and the voice carried something Kethvar had never heard in diplomatic communications before. Complete indifference to threats. High Admiral, with respect, we're not members of your concordance. Your laws don't apply to us. We're here for the Nereidin. Stand aside. You don't understand. High Admiral Torask's mandibles clicked rapidly with anger. The Prime Directive prohibits... Your Prime Directive prohibits you from helping, Admiral Chen interrupted. It doesn't prohibit us. We'll be starting rescue operations in 30 minutes. If you want to help, you're welcome to join us. If not, stay out of our way. The transmission ended with a click that seemed to echo in the stunned silence of the command center. Commander Vex was the first to speak. They can't be serious. 12 ships against our entire fleet? But Kethvar was staring at his sensor readings with growing amazement. These human ships were like nothing he'd ever seen. Their energy signatures suggested technology decades ahead, of concordant standard, and they were moving toward Nereidin with purpose. Hi, Admiral, he said slowly. I think they're very serious indeed. The human ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel with a flash of energy that made every sensor on the Concordance fleet scream warnings. Kethvar watched in amazement as 12 massive vessels appeared in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming silver against the stars. Impossible, Dr. Isara breathed, studying her readings. Those ships just traveled faster than anything in our database. And look at their size. Each one is bigger than our command vessel. The human ships moved with purpose toward Nereidin, ignoring the 60 Concordance vessels surrounding them. On the main screen, Admiral Chen's image appeared. She looked remarkably similar to several Concordance species, bipedal with pale skin and dark hair, but her eyes held something different, a determination that made Kethvar's skin crawl with nervousness. This is Admiral Chen again, she said, her voice calm despite facing overwhelming odds. We're beginning rescue operations immediately. Nereidin people, if you can hear this, help is coming. Please prepare for evacuation. High Admiral Torask's mandibles clicked furiously. Admiral Chen, you are in direct violation of galactic law. The Prime Directive exists to prevent exactly this kind of interference. You will withdraw or face the consequences. Chen's response was swift and cold. Admiral Torask, our species discovered your concordance communications 2 years ago. We've been listening to your debates about the Nereidin situation. While you've been having meetings about meetings, an entire civilization has been preparing to die. The Prime Directive maintains galactic peace, Torask insisted. The Prime Directive maintains galactic cowardice, Chen shot back. We read your history files. 5,000 years of watching species die because helping them might be inconvenient. We're not members of your club, and we're not bound by your rules of selective compassion. Commander Vex looked up from his tactical display, his scales shifting to orange with alarm. Admiral Tarask, the human ships are deploying something. Energy readings are off the charts. On the screens, strange devices began emerging from the human vessels. They looked like giant metal flowers that bloomed in space, each petal crackling with power. The devices moved toward Naraiden with impossible speed. Dr. Isara's feathers stood on end as she read her instruments. Those are atmospheric processors. But the design is completely unknown, and they're big enough to affect an entire planet's weather system. Computer, Kethvar called. Analyze human technology patterns. Analysis complete, the calm voice responded. Human energy signatures suggest technology advancement of approximately 60 to 70 years beyond current concordant standards. Propulsion systems unknown, weapons systems unknown, defensive capabilities unable to determine. Lieutenant Grix's three eyes widened as he monitored communications. Sir, the Naraiden are responding to the human broadcasts. They're crying with joy. The main screen split to show communications from Naraiden. The aquatic beings floated in their flooding cities, their large black eyes filled with tears of relief. One elderly Naraiden, wearing the ceremonial robes of a leader, spoke in their musical language. Translation incoming, the computer announced. Message reads, Beings from the stars, we had given up hope. Our children will sing songs of this day for generations. How can we help you help us? Admiral Chen's expression softened slightly. This is Admiral Chen to Naraiden leadership. We're sending down transport shuttles to your major cities. We'll evacuate your people first, then work on saving your world. Don't be afraid. We've done this before. High Admiral Torask's compound eyes glowed with anger. This is madness. You cannot simply ignore 5,000 years of galactic law. Watch us, Chen replied simply. What happened next would be talked about in concordance war colleges for centuries. The human ships didn't just begin a rescue operation, they began the largest terraforming project the galaxy had ever seen. Massive atmospheric processors entered Naraiden's upper atmosphere and began working immediately. The planet's toxic, superheated air started changing before the concordant sensors could fully understand what was happening. Meanwhile, giant pumping stations materialized near the major cities, holding back rising waters with force fields that bent reality itself. But most impressive were the transport shuttles. Hundreds of them poured from the human ships like a silver river, each one large enough to carry thousands of Naraiden. They moved in perfect coordination, landing in flooded cities and taking off loaded with passengers in smooth, endless cycles. Commander Vex studied the tactical displays with growing amazement. Admiral, their rescue operation is military precise. Those shuttles are following patterns I've never seen before. No wasted movement, no confusion, no delays. How many people can they evacuate at once? Kethvar asked. Dr. Isara ran quick calculations. At this rate, they could evacuate the entire Naraiden population in less than 6 days. And they're not just saving people. Look at those cargo shuttles. On the screens, specialized human ships were loading entire Naraiden cultural artifacts, living coral, reefs and samples of every plant and animal species. They weren't just rescuing a civilization, they were preserving it. This is impossible, Lieutenant Grix muttered. How do they have the ships for this? The coordination, the technology? High Admiral Torask appeared on screen again, his insectoid features twisted with frustrated rage. All ships, prepare to enforce concordance law. These humans must be stopped before they destabilize everything we've built. Admiral, Kethvar spoke carefully. Perhaps we should study their methods first. They seem to have solutions to problems we've considered impossible. They're criminals, Torask snapped. Criminals with advanced technology, which makes them more dangerous, not less. A new voice joined the conversation. Captain Zeal of the Artanian fleet. Hi, Admiral. My people volunteer to assist in the evacuation. The humans have shown it's possible to save everyone. Several other ship captains voiced similar offers. The Concordance fleet was dividing, some supporting Tarask's hardline approach, others inspired by the human example. Admiral Chen's voice cut through the debate like a knife. Concordance fleet, you're welcome to help or to watch, but if you try to stop us, you'll learn why humans build warships the way we do. Is that a threat? Tarask demanded. It's a promise, Chen replied. We didn't fly across the galaxy to start a war. We came to prevent an extinction, but we're prepared for both. On the screens, the human fleet held perfect formation around Naraideen. Their ships didn't look worried despite being outnumbered 5-1. Instead, they looked like patient predators waiting to see which way the Concordance would choose. The message was clear. The humans would save the Naraideen whether the galaxy liked it or not. And something in their calm confidence suggested they had the power to back up that promise. All ships maintain positions, High Admiral Tarask finally ordered. But prepare for engagement. If these humans want to break galactic law, they'll learn the price of defying the Concordance. Admiral Chen smiled, and it wasn't a nice smile. We're looking forward to the education, Admiral. Class starts whenever you're ready. High Admiral Tarask's ultimatum came at dawn on Naraideen, broadcast on all frequencies. Human fleet, you have 1 hour to cease operations and withdraw from this system. Failure to comply will result in military action by the combined Concordance fleet. Admiral Chen's response was immediate and public. Concordance fleet, we have 47 hours of evacuation remaining. We'll be too busy saving lives to pack up and leave. If you want to stop us, you'll have to come through us. Kethvar watched from the observation deck as the Concordance war fleet assembled. 60 ships from 12 different species, each one a masterpiece of military engineering. The Arctanian vessels glowed with plasma weapons. The Viridian ships bristled with missile tubes. The massive Korthak dreadnought could crack a moon in half. Against them, 12 human ships floated in calm formation around Naraideen. The odds are 60-12, Commander Vex observed, his scales showing the blue-gray of deep thought. No species has ever fought the entire Concordance fleet and survived. Maybe that's because no species has ever had a reason to, Dr. Isara replied quietly. The countdown timer on every Concordance ship reached 0. High Admiral Tarask's order echoed across space. All ships, engage enemy vessels. Disable but do not destroy. We need their technology intact. What happened next defied everything the Concordance knew about space warfare. The Arctanian fleet fired first, sending streams of superheated plasma toward the nearest human vessel. The energy blasts should have melted through any known shields. Instead, they hit something invisible and simply disappeared. Impossible, breathed Lieutenant Grick, staring at his sensors. The plasma just stopped existing. Their shields aren't absorbing the energy, they're making it disappear. The Viridian missile barrage followed, hundreds of smart weapons racing toward the human ships. At the last moment, the missiles changed direction, curving back toward their own launchers. Explosions bloomed among the Viridian fleet as their own weapons struck home. They're turning our missiles against us, Commander Vex reported, his voice tight with disbelief. How is that possible? But the humans still hadn't fired back. Admiral Chen's voice remained calm. Concordance fleet, we don't want to hurt you. Stand down and let us finish our mission. High Admiral Tarask's rage was audible. All ships full assault, ram them if necessary. The Korthak dreadnought charged forward, its massive bulk moving to crush the lead human vessel. At the last second, the human ship simply wasn't there anymore. It reappeared behind the dreadnought, untouched. Temporal displacement, Dr. Isara whispered. They're moving through time, not space. The human fleet began to move. Not in formation, but like a single organism with 12 bodies. When Concordance ships tried to surround them, the humans flowed like water through the gaps. When the aliens grouped for a massed attack, human vessels appeared in impossible places, as if they could teleport, but they still didn't fire back. Why aren't they fighting? Kethvar wondered aloud. His answer came when the hegemony cruiser Dark Victory suffered a catastrophic power failure. As the ship's lights went out and it began drifting helplessly, escape pods started launching. Without hesitation, 3 human vessels broke from their formation and moved to collect the pods. They were rescuing their enemies. "This is insane," Commander Vex muttered. "We're shooting at them and they're saving our people." Admiral Chen's voice cut through the chaos of battle. "Concordance Fleet, your people are safe with us. We'll return them when this is over. Please stop fighting, and let us save the Nereidin." But High Admiral Torask was beyond reason. "Concentrate fire on their flagship. All vessels target the lead ship." Every remaining weapon in the Concordance Fleet focused on Admiral Chen's vessel. Energy beams, missiles, railgun rounds, plasma, bolts, everything they had. The combined firepower could have destroyed an entire moon. The human ship sat in the middle of the assault, completely unharmed. The weapons weren't bouncing off shields or being absorbed. They were simply not affecting the ship at all, as if it existed in a different dimension. "Report," Torask demanded. "Sir," came a shaking voice from the sensor station. "The human ship it's existing in multiple quantum states simultaneously. Our weapons are hitting versions of the ship that aren't really there." Kethvar felt his world changing as he watched. Everything the Concordance believed about warfare, about technology, about what was possible, it was all wrong. Then Admiral Chen did something that shocked everyone more than any advanced technology. She surrendered. "Concordance Fleet, this is Admiral Chen. You've made your point. We'll withdraw after we finish evacuating the Nereidin. We had 47 hours of work remaining. Thanks to your interference, it's now 53 hours. "What, High Admiral?" Torask sputtered. "You'll surrender but continue the mission?" "We're not surrendering to you," Chen explained patiently. "We're surrendering to basic human decency. We can't leave people to die, even if it means fighting the entire galaxy. So here's the deal. Arrest us after we save everyone. Put us on trial. Study our ships. Do whatever you want. But first, let us finish what we came here to do." The audacity of it silenced the entire fleet. The humans had just demonstrated technology decades beyond Concordance capabilities, defeated a battle fleet 60 times their size without firing a shot, and then offered to surrender voluntarily, but only after completing their mission. "You're not in a position to make demands," Torask finally managed. "Respectfully, Admiral," Chen replied, and her voice carried steel. "We just fought your entire fleet and you couldn't touch us. We could leave right now and you couldn't stop us, but we won't leave the Nereidin to die. That's not who we are." She paused, then added something that would echo through Concordance history. "You can arrest heroes or you can be heroes. Choose wisely." Down on Nereidin, the evacuation continued. Human shuttles still moved in perfect coordination, saving lives, while their fleet held off the galaxy's mightiest armada. Every minute that passed meant thousands more Nereidin reaching safety. The Concordance fleet floated in space, weapons powered but not firing, unsure how to fight an enemy that wouldn't hurt them but couldn't be hurt in return. An enemy that saved their crews while protecting genocide victims. "Admiral Torask," Captain Zeal's voice came over the comm. "Perhaps we should reconsider our approach. The humans clearly have superior technology, but they're using it to preserve life, not destroy it." Other captains voiced agreement. The Concordance was fracturing, decades of absolute unity cracking under the pressure of watching impossible altruism in action. High Admiral Torask faced a choice that would define the future of galactic civilization. Enforce an outdated law against beings who could enforce a better one, or learn from them. The fate of the Nereidin, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. 24 hours after the battle that wasn't, Ambassador Kethvar found himself aboard Admiral Chen's flagship. The human vessel was unlike anything in Concordance space. Clean white walls that seemed to glow with inner light, and technology, so advanced it looked like magic. "Your ship is beautiful," he told Admiral Chen as she led him through corridors filled with rescued Nereidin families. "Thank you," Chen replied. "We built them to save lives, not take them. Everything you see is designed for rescue operations and humanitarian aid." They passed a viewing window where young Nereidin cubs played in a massive aquatic habitat that somehow existed inside the ship. The water was crystal clear, and artificial coral reefs provided homes for the fish they'd rescued along with the people. How is this possible? Kethvar asked. Your ship contains an entire ocean ecosystem. Pocket dimension technology, Chen explained casually as if discussing the weather. We learned to fold space when our own planet almost died from environmental damage. Had to get creative about fitting ecosystems into small spaces. Dr. Isara, who was part of the diplomatic team, nearly dropped her tablet. You nearly destroyed your own world? Twice, Chen admitted without shame. Climate change almost killed us. Then we nearly nuked ourselves in the resource wars. We learned to be better. Had to, or we'd all be dead. They entered a conference room where holographic displays showed Narayden from all angles. The rescue operation was ahead of schedule. But what caught Kethvar's attention was the other display, one showing Earth. Your homeworld, he breathed, studying the blue-green planet. Home, Chen nodded. Took us 300 years to fix the damage we'd done. Now it's more beautiful than ever. We learned that saving things is harder than destroying them, but infinitely more worthwhile. High Admiral Torask appeared on the main screen, his compound eyes glowing with barely controlled anger. Admiral Chen, half my fleet is refusing orders. 3 species have formally withdrawn from the operation. Your actions are destroying the Concordance. No, Admiral, Chen replied calmly. Your inaction is destroying your credibility. We're just showing what's possible when you actually try to help. The Prime Directive exists for a reason, Torask insisted. Yes, it does, Chen agreed. It exists because you were afraid of making hard choices, afraid of taking responsibility, afraid of admitting that sometimes the right thing to do is also the illegal thing to do. Commander Vex entered the room, his scales showing deep purple, the color of confusion and wonder. Admiral Chen, we've been monitoring your ships. Your crew isn't military, is it? Chen smiled. About 60% of my people are scientists, engineers, and doctors. 20% are diplomats and cultural specialists. The rest are military, but even they're trained primarily in defensive operations. You're saying you defeated our entire war fleet with a rescue fleet? Kethvar asked, astounded. We didn't defeat anyone, Chen corrected. We just refused to be defeated. There's a difference. Our ships are designed to protect, not attack. We can defend ourselves perfectly, but we can't really hurt you unless you force us to. Dr. Isara was studying the technical displays with growing excitement. Your atmospheric processors aren't just buying time. You're actually fixing Narayden's climate. How? Solar regulation satellites, atmospheric scrubbers, and oceanic thermal management, Chen explained. We're not just evacuating the Narayden. We're giving them their world back. It'll take about 6 months to complete the restoration. 6 months? Commander Vex's scales turned bright orange. Concordance terraforming projects take decades. Concordance. Terraforming projects follow Concordance bureaucracy, Chen replied with a slight smile. Ours follow physics. An urgent chime interrupted them. Lieutenant Grix's image appeared on screen. Ambassador, we're receiving distress signals. Multiple systems. The Zephyrian Coalition is facing a solar storm that will sterilize their worlds. The Aquan mining colonies are dealing with a planet-killer asteroid. The synthesis worlds are experiencing volcanic eruptions that could trigger an ice age. Chen's expression became thoughtful. How many people are we talking about? Billions across all systems, Grix replied. And the Concordance response? Chen asked, though her tone suggested she already knew. The High Council is convening emergency sessions to discuss potential responses within Prime Directive guidelines, Kethvar admitted reluctantly. In other words, meetings about meetings while people die, Chen summarized. High Admiral Torask's image flared with anger. You cannot blame us for following laws that have maintained galactic peace for millennia. Peace for whom? Chen asked. Quietly. Peace for the species who die while you debate? Peace for the civilizations that beg for help you're legally forbidden to give? That's not peace, Admiral. That's negligent homicide on a galactic scale. She turned to the displays showing the distress signals. Every one of these crises could be solved with current technology and sufficient will. But your laws forbid action, so billions will die. What are you suggesting? Kethvar asked, though he suspected he knew. I'm suggesting humanity doesn't care about your laws, Chen stated simply. We're going to help these people, all of them. The question is whether you'll try to stop us again or join us. Dr. Isara's feathers ruffled with excitement. Join you? Why not? Chen asked. You have the technology to save lives. You have the resources to end suffering. The only thing stopping you is an outdated law written by people who were too afraid to take responsibility for their choices. Commander Vex spoke carefully. You're talking about fundamentally changing how the galaxy operates. I'm talking about fundamentally changing how you fail to operate, Chen corrected. Right now you watch civilizations die because helping might be complicated. We're offering a better way. High Admiral Torask's mandibles clicked furiously. You cannot simply ignore 5,000 years of galactic law. Watch us, Chen replied, with the same calm confidence she'd shown throughout. In 6 months, when Nereidon is green and blue again, when their children are swimming in clean oceans, when their culture is preserved and thriving, then tell me your laws matter more than their lives. She gestured to the displays showing the new distress signals. We leave for the Zephyrian system in 12 hours. Any concordance vessel that wants to help save lives instead of hide behind laws is welcome to join us. The conference room fell silent, except for the distant sounds of Nereidon children playing in their new ocean homes. The challenge was clear. Continue following laws that preserved order while allowing suffering, or join the humans in creating a new kind of galactic civilization, one focused on saving lives rather than saving face. Admiral Chen, Kethvar said slowly, what you're suggesting would change everything. Good, Chen replied. Maybe it's time for everything to change. On the screens, the rescue operations continued. Nereidon families reunited. Scientists worked to restore their world. And across the galaxy, other species in crisis looked to the stars, hoping these mysterious humans would come for them too. The age of the Prime Directive was ending. The age of human intervention was about to begin. Whether the galaxy was ready or not, the Concordance High Council's emergency session was chaos. Ambassador Kethvar watched as representatives from 12 species argued over humanity's latest provocation. Holographic images showed human fleets at 5 different crisis zones, saving species the Concordance had written off as natural casualties. They're at Zephyrian Prime, somehow redirecting solar storms, reported Admiral Zex, his blue skin pale with stress. At Aquan 7, they split an asteroid the size of a moon into harmless pieces, and at Synthesis Major, they're actually reversing volcanic eruptions. Impossible, High Admiral Torask muttered, his mandibles clicking with frustrated anger. Everything they do is impossible, Counselor Veridana pointed out. Yet they keep doing it. On the main display, Admiral Chen appeared via quantum transmission. She looked tired but determined, standing on the bridge of her flagship with the restored blue skies of Nereidon visible through the viewport behind her. Counselors, she said simply, we need to talk. You have violated every law of galactic civilization, Torask accused. You've interfered with natural evolutionary processes, ignored territorial boundaries, and disrupted 5,000 years of established order. Yes, Chen agreed without shame. And because of that, 7 billion Nereidon are alive instead of dead. 2 billion Zephyrians didn't die from radiation poisoning. 3 billion Aquans didn't get smashed by an asteroid. 60 million synthesis colonists aren't freezing in a volcanic winter. She paused, letting the numbers sink in. 12 billion. 960 million people are alive today because we ignored your laws. Tell me again why that's wrong. Counselor, Dravak of the Hegemony leaned forward, his reptilian features stern. Because you've doomed us all to chaos. Every species will now expect intervention. Wars will break out over who gets saved first. The galaxy will tear itself apart. Will it? Chen asked calmly. Let's find out. Computer, display current crisis situations requiring immediate intervention. The hologram changed to show a star map dotted with red warning signals. Dozens of them. 43 civilizations facing extinction-level events right now, Chen announced. The concordance response time for each based on historical data. 6 months minimum for diplomatic approval, 2 years for resource allocation, 5 years for actual intervention, if approved at all. Our response time, immediate. We can have rescue fleets en route within hours. Dr. Isara, now serving as liaison between human and concordance forces, spoke up. Admiral Chen, the concordance lacks your advanced technology. Even if we wanted to help, we couldn't match your response capabilities. Chen smiled. Dr. Isara, would you like to know how humans developed such advanced technology? Of course. We shared everything. Every breakthrough, every innovation, every scientific advance was immediately shared with all human nations. When Earth faced climate collapse, we didn't keep secrets. When we developed FTL travel, we didn't hoard it. When we learned to manipulate spacetime, we taught everyone. The implications hit the concordance representatives like a physical blow. You're offering to share your technology, Keithvar said slowly. We're offering to share everything, Chen confirmed. Medical advances that extend lifespans by centuries. Energy systems that make scarcity obsolete. Transportation that connects distant galaxies. Terraforming that turns any world into paradise. In exchange for what? Torask demanded suspiciously. For helping instead of watching, Chen replied simply. Join us in saving lives and we'll give you the tools to save even more. The High Council erupted in debate. The implications were staggering. Technology that could transform every concordance world. Science that could solve problems they didn't even know existed. Medical knowledge that could eliminate disease and extend life indefinitely. But Torask wasn't convinced. This is bribery. You're trying to buy our compliance with advanced technology. No, Chen said seriously. We're offering partnership. You can keep your laws and let billions die, or you can join us and save them all. Your choice. Suddenly, urgent alerts flooded the council chamber. War fleets were mobilizing across the galaxy, but not concordance fleets. Sir, a technician reported, we're detecting massive fleet movements. The hegemony has launched their war armada. The Synthesis Empire is mobilizing everything. The Viridian Republic is sending everything they have to join the humans. The display updated, showing hundreds of ships from multiple concordance member species racing toward human rescue fleets, not to fight them, to help them. The rebellion has begun, Torask whispered. It's not a rebellion, Chen corrected. It's an awakening. Your people are tired of watching the galaxy burn while you debate in committee meetings. Keithvar studied the display, his heart's racing. 7 species have broken from the concordance. They're joining human rescue operations without authorization. And more will follow, Counselor Veridana predicted, her feathers ruffled with excitement. Admiral, Chen, what happens to those who don't join your awakening? Chen's expression grew cold. Nothing. We won't force anyone to save lives. But we won't let anyone stop us from saving lives either. The threat was subtle but clear. The humans wouldn't attack the concordance, but they wouldn't protect them from member species who chose humanity's way over the Prime Directive. You're fracturing the concordance, Torask accused. The concordance is fracturing itself, Chen replied. We're just giving people a choice between old laws and new hope. She gestured to someone off screen, and the view changed to show Nureddin. The planet was green again. Oceans sparkled blue under a healthy sun. Cities floated peacefully on calm waters. Nureddin children played in coral gardens that had taken centuries to grow the first time. This is what choosing hope looks like, Chen said. 6 months ago, this world was dead. These people had 6 weeks to live. Now they have forever. High Admiral Torask stared at the screen for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was quiet. You've made your point, Admiral Chen. But if we abandon the Prime Directive, what prevents the galaxy from tearing itself apart in wars over resources? Chen's smile was answer enough. Admiral Torask, when everyone has access to unlimited clean energy, matter conversion technology, and space-time manipulation, what exactly would they fight over? Power, Tarask said automatically. What power is greater than the power to create? Life-save civilizations and explore infinite galaxies? Chen asked. We're not offering you weapons, Admiral. We're offering you possibilities beyond your imagination. She leaned forward, her eyes intense. The question isn't whether you can afford to join us. The question is whether you can afford not to. On the displays, more fleet signatures appeared. More species were choosing humanity's path. The galaxy was changing whether the Concordance approved or not. I'll put it simply, Chen said. You can lead this transformation or be left behind by it, but it's happening with or without you. The transmission ended, leaving the High Council in stunned silence. Outside, the galaxy was reshaping itself around new principles. Principles that valued life over law, action over inaction, hope over bureaucracy. The age of watching was over. The age of doing had begun, and the Concordance had to decide which age they wanted to belong to. 1 year later, Ambassador Kethvar stood in the same observation chamber where he had once watched the Nereiden face extinction. But everything had changed. The viewing port now showed Nereiden Prime in all its restored glory, sparkling blue, oceans, floating cities more magnificent than before, and children playing in coral gardens that bloomed with impossible colors. It's beautiful, said Dr. Isara, joining him at the window. Her feathers showed the bright silver of contentment. I never thought I'd see anything like this. None of us did, Kethvar replied, then gestured to the displays around the observation deck. Each screen showed a different world, a different success story. 47 civilizations saved in 1 year, planets restored, species preserved, entire star systems brought back from the brink. The hegemony worlds, once ravaged by industrial pollution, now thrived with clean cities powered by human fusion technology. The Aquan colonies, previously struggling with resource depletion, now had matter converters that could create anything from base elements. The volcanic synthesis worlds had been turned into paradises with controlled climate systems. And not a single war, Dr. Isara marveled. The critics said sharing technology would lead to chaos. The critics were wrong, came a familiar voice. Admiral Chen entered the observation chamber, looking relaxed in her simple blue uniform. Behind her walked High Admiral Tarask, his once stern compound eyes now showing something like wonder. Admiral Chen. Kethvar bowed slightly. How goes the integration? Better than expected, Chen admitted. The new Concordance Defense Force now includes ships from 43 species, all equipped with shared human technology. Response times to galactic emergencies have dropped from years to hours. Tarask clicked his mandibles in what Kethvar had learned was the hegemony equivalent of a chuckle. I spent 50 years enforcing laws that prevented us from helping. Now I spend my days coordinating rescue missions across 3 galaxies. Any regrets? Dr. Isara asked. Only that it took so long, Tarask replied honestly. Admiral Chen, show them the latest reports. Chen activated a holographic display that made everyone's breath catch. Star maps showed thousands of points of light, each representing a world touched by the new Concordance's intervention programs. Population saved from extinction. Over 200 billion sentient beings, Chen read from the display. Worlds, restored to habitability, 347. New colonies established using sustainable technology, over 1,000. Species that have achieved faster-than-light travel with our assistance, 66. And the best part, Tarask added, with obvious pride, is that we're training them to help others. The species we save today become the rescuers of tomorrow. Kethvar studied the data with amazement. The galaxy has more inhabited worlds now than ever before in recorded history. That's what happens when you stop watching civilizations die and start preventing their deaths, Chen observed quietly. Commander Vex entered the chamber, his scales showing the bright green of excitement. Admirals, we've received a message from the Outer Rim territories. 3 unknown species are requesting contact. They've heard about the new Concordance and want to join. Unknown species? Dr. Isara asked with scientific curiosity. Previously, Undiscovered, Vex confirmed. They've been hiding in deep space, avoiding contact because they thought spacefaring civilizations were dangerous. After observing our rescue operations, they've decided we might be different. Chen smiled. Dispatch first contact teams immediately. Full diplomatic and scientific support. If they need help with anything, we provide it. At once, Admiral, Vex replied, already moving to implement the order. Torask watched him go, then turned to Chen with something like awe. Do you realize what you've accomplished? In 1 year, you've transformed the galaxy from a place of careful non-interference to one of active compassion. We all accomplished it, Chen corrected. Humans provided the technology and the example. But it was species like yours that chose to follow it. That choice made all the difference. She activated another display, this one showing Earth. The blue-green world spun peacefully in space, surrounded by orbital cities that gleamed like jewels. This is what humans learned after almost destroying ourselves twice, Chen explained. Isolation leads to stagnation. Competition without cooperation leads to extinction. But when different species work together, share knowledge freely, and help each other survive, miracles become possible, Kethvar finished. Exactly. Dr. Izara was studying another display showing the new interspecies research stations. Admiral, is it true that human scientists now have access to Viridian temporal research and hegemony quantum engineering, and Aquan bioengineering and Nereidan harmony mathematics? Chen confirmed. We're all learning from each other. Human technology was advanced, but it wasn't perfect. Combined with galactic scientific knowledge, we're making breakthroughs none of us could achieve alone. Like what? Torask asked with interest. Yesterday, a joint human Viridian team successfully created a stable wormhole network connecting 50 star systems instantaneously. Next month, an Aquan hegemony project will launch living ships that can heal themselves and adapt to any environment. And the Nereidan are working with our musicians to create harmony frequencies that can actually speed up planetary healing. Kethvar felt his multiple hearts swell with something he hadn't experienced in decades. Genuine hope for the future. Admiral Chen, he said formally, on behalf of the former Concordance High Council, I want to thank you. For what? For showing us what we could become instead of what we were content to remain. Chen's expression grew serious. Ambassador, we didn't save the galaxy alone. Every species that chose hope over fear, action over inaction, shared responsibility over isolated safety. You all saved yourselves. We just showed you it was possible. She gestured to the displays showing thriving worlds, rescued civilizations, and new allies joining the galactic community daily. This is what the universe looks like when people choose to help each other instead of finding excuses not to. It's what every galaxy could look like if its people had the courage to care more about tomorrow than about yesterday's laws. Lieutenant, Grix appeared on the main screen. Admiral Chen, we have incoming signals from the Andromeda Galaxy. They're requesting assistance with a critical situation involving a dying star that threatens 17 inhabited systems. Chen didn't hesitate. How long to get there? 8 hours with the new wormhole network. Excellent. Dispatch combined fleets, humans, hegemony, Viridian, and Aquan vessels. Full rescue and stabilization equipment. At once, Admiral, Torask. Watch the orders being carried out with satisfaction. Another galaxy to save. Another chance to make the universe a little bit better, Chen agreed. Outside the viewing port, Nereidan children played in crystal-clear waters under perfect blue skies. Across the galaxy, billions of beings lived, loved, and thrived because someone had decided that laws mattered less than lives. The age of the Prime Directive was over. The age of universal compassion had begun, and the humans had shown them all that sometimes the most revolutionary thing you can do is simply care enough to try.